Hi YouTube, it's Metagross Freak, and normally on my videos, every now and then I'll offer people, to make suggestions for videos, and none of you have taken me up on that offer yet, but someone finally did. Raph the Electrifying, he and I were talking, and he suggested that I maybe do a ghost video. So I think I'm going to do that. Now, there's quite a bunch of ghost types in Pokemon. In fact, there's 27 to be exact, and covering 27 Pokemon all in one video is going to take some time. So I'm just going to do final forms, like Gengar and Dusknoir, Frostlass. I'm not going to do any of the pre-forms. I did leave Golurk, Lampent, and the jellyfish one out, mainly because I forgot about them. But not to say that they're not good Pokemon. I just wanted to keep this shorter. Now, there are not a lot. There's at least one Ghost type trainer of significance in each generation. You've got Agatha, and Chantel, and well, anyway, three of these trainers are Elite Four, and two of them are trainers. So it's obvious that ghost types are important enough to be somewhat significant if a main character in each generation uses it. But they're not very common. Like I said, there's not a lot of ghost types. In fact, they're the smallest. They're the smallest group of Pokemon. And the first one covered is Bayonette. Bayonette's a pretty good Pokemon. Yeah, he can learn Thunder and Thunderbolt, and he's based on a voodoo doll. He's not my favorite. I've got a bunch of other ghosts I like better than him, but he's not bad. Mismagius and Misdreavus are based kind of on witches, but they're also based on banshees. This is most evident in their abilities like Screech, Uproar, and Perish Song. You've got Dusknoir's family, which is very much based. Oh, Dusclops is based more on a mummy, but the trio is based very much on the Grim Reaper. Because if you look in their Pokedex entries, almost all three of them in the various generation 3, 4, and 5 articles mention something about like helping guiding lost souls or whatever, and to the death underworld and stuff like that. Yamask and Cofagrigus are both two Egyptian ghost-themed Pokemon. Most likely based on the Pharaoh's Curse. This is most evident with their ability Mummy, that if you physically attack them, you gain your ability switched out with Mummy, which is kind of similar to how if you intrude on the Pharaoh's tomb, you risk catching the Mummy's curse. We got Gengar. Gengar, is very much like a boogeyman or a shadow person of Irish folklore, though it also has very much in common with the boogeyman, which and that means it shares a trait with Darkrai, who is one of my favorite Pokemon. Also, on a side note, Gengar also slightly resembles the Cheshire Cat from the Lewis Carroll stories, Alice in Wonderland. Rotom's probably one of the most popular ghost-type Pokemon, and is the only ghost-type Pokemon that isn't. Actually, it's one of the few Pokemon that isn't a legendary to have legendary music. Rotom physically is based on ball lightning, which is a phenomenon naturally caused in nature. However, its ability to turn into like Mow Rotom and Wash Rotom is similar to the idea of possessed appliances. How like you'll like set your dishwasher to wash on coal, and you'll come back and like your kitchen's flooded and the water's burning hot, and no one knows what caused it. In a similar way, Rotom is based on that of possessed appliances that act weird. Drifblim is obviously a hot air balloon, and you might be asking, what do hot air balloons have anything to do with like death and like ghosts? Well, not only are ghost Pokemon based on ghosts, but I believe they're also based a lot on fear. And a lot of people have a fear of heights or fear of flying, so it makes sense that he would be a hot air balloon. Spiritomb. Now, Spiritomb is again, one of the most popular ghost types, and there's a lot of things he could be based after. His original basis in Sinnoh, you had to talk to 108 people, which is reminiscent of the 108 temptations in Buddhism, and only by expelling all 108 temptations from your body could you achieve enlightenment. However, because of its stone body, and especially in the anime when Ash and friends disturbed the resting place of Spiritomb, they released its spirit. I think it has a lot in common with Pandora's box. Especially because with the Legend of Pandora's box, when she opened the box, all of the evil spirits inside were released. And that pretty much is it's pretty much how Spiritomb goes. In addition, kind of a coincidence, the only thing that was left in the box was hope, and due to the fact that Spiritomb has no weaknesses, you're kind of hopeless for getting a super effective hit. Giratina, one of my favorite Pokemon. I prefer the origin form over the altered form. Giratina is very much based on the Basilisk and the Amphitheater Dragon, as I covered in my History of Dragons video. And Giratina is just amazing, and I just love the Pokemon so much. Shedinja is a popular Pokemon due to its ability Wonder Guard, which protects it from moves unless they're super effective. Now, some people might be wondering, what's so scary about the empty shell of a bug? Well, it's a dead husk, and some people fear death, which, that could make sense for being a ghost. Also, due to the fact that, it has passed on because it's the empty shell, and that it has a little halo, you could, and wings, you could theorize that Shedinja is based on a guardian angel, as the picture to the right describes. Next is Sableye. Sableye, again, has a similar typing to Spiritomb because it has Ghost and Dark, meaning it has no physical weaknesses. Sableye is a weird Pokemon, though. If you have Battle Revolution or Colosseum, you'll notice that Sableye just moves weird. He does like this little funky dance, and even in the anime, he just acts bizarre. A lot of his basis is on like gremlins and goblins and little green men. And the fact that Sableye are usually found in caves and tend to live in dark places only helps to emphasize this. Lastly, I think this is lastly, is Froslass, who's again one of my favorite Pokemon, one of my favorite ghosts, and one of my favorite ice types. And she's based on the Japanese spirit Yuki-onna, which is a spirit woman who would wander the forests and kimonos trying to find young men, and she would either seduce the men or she would trick them, and if she was successful, she would freeze their bodies and bring them back to her cave where she would just keep the ice statues. Although Froslass is not nearly that creepy, you can definitely see the kimono shape in her. So there's a bunch of ghost-type moves. Some of the most common ones are, Confuse Ray, Destiny Bond, Nightshade, and Nightmare. And surprisingly enough, Nightmare, I really thought with all the Pokemon that know hypnosis and stuff in the anime that, that there'd be Nightmare. But I'm kind of glad there isn't, because in Generation 3 and before, in Nightmare you have this cool little demon creature, as you can see with that Gengar in the middle of the screen. Also, if you've been paying attention, in the bottom corner there's a Derpy, which if you noticed that before I said anything, you get 5 awesome points, so good for you. But the two most common ghost-type moves are Curse and Shadow Ball. Curse, despite being the signature move of Ghost, is a weird one because you cut your own HP in half just to basically do the same effect that Nightmare does. So on other Pokemon like Rock types or whatever, it actually just increases your stats. So Curse is a weird move. The last one is Shadow Ball. a lot of Pokemon can learn Shadow Ball, even if they're not Ghost. And in fact, the first Pokemon to use it in the anime was Mewtwo. Shadow Ball is a Generation 2 move, and similar to how Pokemon, the first movie, showed off, Pokemon like Donphan and Marill and Snubbull, they also showcased this new Generation 2 move. They also showed off this new Generation 2 move of Shadow Ball. So, to wrap it up, I'm just going to go to the last slide. Sorry about the position. Apparently my power was running low. And the last slide is just some fan art from DeviantArt. There's a lot of talented artists who love ghost types, and you can see a lot of cool stuff. I especially like the one in the bottom corner with Sableye, offering alternate evolutions based on Mothman and the Baba Yaga. I like the one on the left with Giratina having like a third kind of like robot fighty form. Ghost types are popular. They're not one of my favorite types, but they're certainly pretty cool. So you can thank Raph the Electrifying for offering this video. So if you have any suggestions on something else I should do, send me a message, because I'd love to hear what you have to say. And until further notice, I'm Metagross Freak. Thanks for watching.